But yeah, so his father comes in. He's like, "You being my son, knowing what you're capable of, they only send 3 guys, and then it doesn't make sense for them to send them to your home, because it's this is your territory, blah blah blah." And then he's like, at some point, you know, he's like, "And you don't know who these people are. You killed them all already." He was like, you should have left at least one of them alive, right? All right, take care. So he's like, you should have left one of them alive, right? What you should always do, and this is the part that caught me. He's like, what you should always do is you think of the most complicated reason as to why they did this, and then you work your way down. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, that's literally how I actually come up with a lot of the ideas to research specific terms or research, like, I don't know. It's like I realize that, of course, this is all secrecy, so everything is basically hidden, but it's also hidden in plain sight, right? So I realized that's what I've been doing. What I would do is, remember, they want everyone to believe, oh, this is science fiction. None of this technology exists. None of it can ever be possible. Oh, there's no way to wirelessly power nanorobots from a distance. Oh, there's no way you can basically record, brain waves from a distance. They tell you all these things, right? But here's the thing. None of it is untrue, right? None of it is all that fictional. And okay, so it's like none of it is actually all that fictional. The reason why I say this is because how I learned to find out what things I need to look for is I basically thought of what can I say? Like, I thought the most obscene thing possible, right? Whether it could be drones or satellites or a nanorobot. I thought of everything that I could probably think of in a movie, right? And that's something else that also helped me too. Is I watched before my targeting and afterwards, and I realized a lot of this stuff is in the movies. A lot of it is in the movies because they have to hide it in plain sight, so then you become desensitized, and then let's just say if someone gets approached about all this, right? And then they say, oh, we're going to help you out. We're going to give you enhancements and stuff. You're going to think the shit is cool, right? You're going to buy into it. Remember, the devil is highly, highly deceptive. And he's one hell of a liar, too. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so here's what I think ultimately is going to happen, right? Because you got to remember, human beings are only meant to absorb but so much radiation. Like, our flesh can only absorb but so much radiation, and there's not much research done. Actually, there's so much suppressed research against electromagnetic radiation, and the telecommunication companies, the FCC, the FDA, they all know how dangerous that long-term exposure to electromagnetic radiation can be to the cells and the tissues in the body. Not only just that, but also how it can actually affect and manipulate, or what effects it can have on a person's mood, their memory, their ability to focus or concentrate, a slew of things, right? They know these things, and yet I don't honestly believe people truly are aware of what you're doing when you basically are accepting, when you're accepting nanorobots being all throughout your body. And remember, these nanorobots, they're harvesting energy within your body just to channel the electric current through your body. The electric current carrying data, and this data is basically it's downloading information into your brain, and then your brain is resonating with this stuff, right? But all these nanorobots that's flowing throughout your body, they're absorbing radiation. Now this radiation, I'm telling you, this radiation is going to come back to bite people in the ass. Because think about it, a light energy being that's not of flesh probably can live through the dangers of being in, let's say, space, right? A light energy being wouldn't necessarily have any problems with absorption. Hold on. So yeah, these nanorobots are absorbing radiation from near infrared light. Near infrared light, which I'm trying to teach myself some of this stuff, falls in between the spectrum of 700 nanometers and 2300 nanometers. Then I found out that there are, like, it's sectioned off into 3 parts, and some nanorobots probably can send more power than others, or whatever the case may be. Okay. I ultimately think that the plan, if anybody is aware of who the World Economic Forum is, the Davos meetings, and then I heard something about Bohemian Grove. I don't really know much about that, but I heard it mentioned in a video on YouTube at some point. But all the elites are spearheading this depopulation agenda, and they're doing it through such a secrecy, right? Ultimately, we all know the end game is to basically reduce the global population so that, one, you don't necessarily need that many jobs to support all these people, and 2, you don't have to pay that much money out to support these people working these jobs, right? The idea of artificial intelligence is to actually take away some of the jobs that a computer can do. And because of how intelligent and somewhat creative artificial intelligence can be, they're going to go for the artificial intelligence is going to take away most of the jobs. Honestly, artificial intelligence is going to literally destroy the economy to some degree, right? And people they're accepting of it. I think my job might be okay. Until robots can basically do what I'm doing, then yeah. But aside from that, ultimately, it's to have everyone's brain linked to the cloud, right? Then to absorb, or rather extract and upload as much data and experiences from every single person that's living on the earth, right? After the AI has collected probably as much data and all the data has been stored on these secret, probably government protected servers. Let's call it shadow government protected servers. They'll basically they'll basically slowly chop down on some of their own so-called secret society members. Those who probably won't necessarily be all that, resourceful to the economy or the society that they're creating. Because I mean, most of the jobs that I'm noticing, a lot of people who are a part of the secret society, especially when because I'm like door to door. I see everything. I'm outside, so I see everybody. I'm gonna just say that off rip. I see everybody. It doesn't matter how nice they look. Doesn't matter how dirty they look. I see everybody. I see it's in your energy. It's in your aura. I see you. Like in my last video, anybody who's actually a part of this and consenting to it, they're very shifty. Their energy is very noticeable. How when you come into an area, their whole attention, you can feel their attention focused to you. And you knowing yourself, you know that you probably don't, you know that when you're like, I guess, recording a video or whatever the case may be, or you're trying to like just, I don't know, manage yourself through this whole ordeal, you're not crazy. Well, of course, you're going to tell people you're crazy, but you're not crazy. And you, even when in public, you don't even do crazy things, right? But this is what they're conditioning people who are already happily receiving of this nanotechnology in their bodies. Now, let me see. I think ultimately it's to collect everything from every person, collect as much data that they can from each person. Once they have collected enough data, collectively, those who are probably those who are probably at a let's just say a considerable advantage or status, they can decide whether you live or you die, right? And they already have your likeness. They already have how you think. They already have so much about you already uploaded to the cloud that at this point they don't necessarily need you. They already have a copy of you. So what they'll do is they'll go through phases. They'll go through phases of depopulation. And I'm looking around at some people who I see that's a part of the augmented society, and I'm like I'm already seeing into the future. You're not going to be where you think you're going to be in the next few years. They're going to get rid of you because you yourself won't necessarily, not pertaining to target individuals, they're already trying to write us off. I mean, they're trying to write us off so bad that they have to actually create fake stories about us and propaganda and things of that sort. Let me finish this. I'll be right back. So they're already I guess you could say we're like the first phase, right? Is to basically go after those who have a moral compass, those who actually vibrate at a much different frequency than the rest of them. And ultimately, they're going to work this thing out in phases. Everyone who's a part, who believes they're truly in the secret society, they're not all going to make it. That I'm aware of, because you can't get to the number that they're looking for when it comes to depopulation, and your secret society has this many people in it. No, they're still going to be cutting down. Trust and believe they're still going to be cutting down. And I don't care how much knowledge or information that they have, at their access to just like think up, or whatever, because they're connected to the cloud and everything. I don't care about none of that. What I'm realizing is they're not trying to take care of people anymore. They're not trying to really help people anymore. They're not trying to pay people anymore. Especially people who ultimately don't really like working. Because trust and believe, some of these people who are in this thing, they don't like working. And then I'm noticing a lot of people at their jobs who's a part of the secret society. You don't even like the job that you're doing. But yet somehow you're being compensated. But how long is this compensation going to satisfy you, right? Then again, you know what? They could be tuning everybody too. Like, because you're compliant, we're going to send you good vibe. We're going to send you like synthetic good vibrational energy, right? Like, they're going to transmit like happiness or whatever. They're going to transmit content into your brain. So then they would basically be like, more, I guess, more compliant. Or, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like basically drugging them up when you think about it. If you want to call it witchcraft, because that's what it is too. So, but what I'm thinking is ultimately going to happen, they're going to continue to let these people think that they're a part of something that's going to be great and grandeur, and everyone is going to have, the best health, the best intellect, or whatever the case may be. But there's definitely going to be levels to this thing, right? One theory I have is that at some point, people who are already experiencing some of the side effects of being exposed to so much radiation, they're basically going to become so sick that the nanorobots aren't going to be able to keep up with the cellular repair. And then I'm thinking about it like, this must be addicting too, because I'm sure at some point you could probably maybe they can adjust some settings, or they can probably turn off the AR, VR, just so that they can, I guess, take a rest. Just like when you are wearing when you're wearing the VR goggles and you're playing in there for like a few hours, and after a while your eyes hurt. Yeah, your eyes have been absorbing radiation. So is your brain, because why? That's a whole device strapped to your skull, and your eyes are absorbing all of this light right to your face. Right into your face. But when you think about the nanorobots, right? This stuff is inside the body, and it's next to the nerves and positioned right next to synapses, and every time I believe every time they think of something that they want to retrieve as far as information, what they probably are doing is they're forcing their body to absorb more radiation. Because why? If you think about it, let's say, one of the things that they say in some of these BCI presentations is, going to Google will seem primitive. All you would have to do is just think. Now, every time you think, naturally, just talking about how the body naturally reacts. Every time you think, you're generating an electrical signal. You're generating electrical signals in your brain that probably, oh man, I went the wrong way. You're generating electrical signals to basically, to recall things, or you're generating electrical signals every time you're looking at colors and stuff like that. But this is naturally being produced, right? Now think about it like this. That's the energy that's already naturally in your body that's being generated. Every time they think, they're asking for more radiation to be directed at the nanorobots. The nanorobots are now absorbing this radiation and is channeling this energy into their tissue. Every time they think, they're absorbing more and more radiation. More than they normally would if they would just use their regular brain. Actually, I don't think they would be generating any radiation if they were to just use their own brain. Right? Hold on. Alright, so yeah. Their bodies are absorbing more and more radiation just because they want access to more information and not have to worry about, having memory problems and whatnot. Why? Because they're being regulated and managed by artificial intelligence. Now that's one, right? Another thing would be, they're calling me an idiot. They're saying like, oh, he's a crazy person through the V2K. But I'm like, when I read these peer-reviewed technological studies, scientific studies, especially the ones that, they say right at the top this is a hypothesis or theory, study or whatever. And then they provide all types of references at the bottom, and these are doctors and scientists that are writing these things. When you read some of these studies, you'll be like, wow, that sounds scary, crazy. I'm so glad this isn't real. This is just hypothesis. This is just a theory, right? But the thing is, if you pay attention to your body, right? Pay attention to your body and then read about what their hypothesis is. Pay attention to what's happening to your body and then read what they're saying, how this stuff could possibly work. Just pay attention to your body. I promise you, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds when you read it, because you're living it, right? You're living it. Now, they'll say, oh, technically this is not illegal, which it actually kind of is, because none of us consented to it. And I don't think most of the people who are supposedly a part of the secret society, I don't believe they consented to it either. But yet we're all roped up in this thing, right? Anyway, the next phase I'm thinking is that once they chop down, let's say, the TIs, then they make their way through some of these other, people are funny. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh shit. And the funny thing is, I think all they're trying to do is bust a U-turn. She thinks they're trying to steal her parking spot. That's hilarious. Oh, anyway. Okay, so I got 3 stops all in this little section right here. All right, I'll be back again. Okay, so now that I finished my last stop for the day, I can expound a little bit more without any distractions. But one thing I do gotta say, since I've been talking in more detail about some of this stuff, they started heating. They started the heating of my brain again. So if I was to like show you, and it's so easy for me to do it now. It's so if only if I had like a camera that can detect near infrared. I'm literally holding it between my thumb and index finger. This, I believe, is like maybe like the main resonant frequency. And I'm telling you, read the stuff I've been posting, because it literally tells you that the main primary area that of the brain that nanorobots would actually target for stimulating cognition, memory, and along other things like critical thinking, is the prefrontal cortex. And I'm literally holding, even when I'm holding my hand down here, I still feel it pulsing in my hand. It's like in between my thumb and the base of my index finger, right? I can move it around, and I realize what I'm also doing is I think I'm manipulating maybe the polarities of it or something. Now, I think you could probably almost see the difference. From when I'm talking regular and then when I'm actually concentrating on trying to relieve some of the heat and pressure that's building up from the waves, heating up my brain, right? Now, let me see. I said, chopping away at targeted individuals. Then, once they finish villainizing us, or villainizing, which is one of them words. Then they're going to go after cutting down on their numbers, right? And I think some of the people that they'll probably go after first are the ones who were already in destitute situations, unless they become full-on hired, technocratic muscles, full-on henchmen for the technocrats and the transhumanists. A lot of them people aren't gonna make it. Because think about it. Like, the AI already had copied, let's just say the local gang member, right? He's a part of the secret society, right? He's enhanced. He's basically taking information from people. Maybe he's dabbling in a little bit of a meta assault, or whatever the case may be, right? Now, once they have obtained all of the data that they would need from him to probably be able to, let's say, create a copy of him. And when I say a copy, I mean to just basically have a program of someone like him. They don't need him anymore. And then on top of that, he already has a history of violence or whatever it is that he used to do. So they don't need him no more. Now they could call themselves ridding the world of unnecessary violence. So then they'll start to chop away at some of the people that already were prone, and have a history to it. Unless they become so conformed that they have the self-control not to, resort back to what they would consider primitive ways. Maybe he or she will make it. I don't know. I'm just theorizing right now. Now, they could get all mad at me all they want, talking about some, oh, Chris, you need to stop talking. You need to stop. You don't know what you're talking about. Da da da. And I'm like, first and foremost, all four of the operators, or all four of the shadowers that are verbally communicating with me, they're all black. So I'm gonna just say this: since when do we trust the government? I'm gonna just say this straight up. Since when do we trust the government? Since when did, unless it's like people infiltrated the government, unless it's like people that have infiltrated the government and they were already dirty from jump, since when do we trust them? And then even if that's the case, it's usually always but a matter of time until they cut some loose ends, right? It's only but a matter of time. Because they're not going to continuously use you while you continue to know so much about what they're doing. No. At some point, they're going to have to cut ties with some of these people, right? And to my understanding, especially if you wanna look back at how, let's say, go back to how the Black Panther Party was infiltrated. Matter of fact, look at how the origins, like if you really go in and look up the origins of Bloods and Crips, how they basically got infiltrated. You look at some of these civil rights groups now, and you can already tell there's so many controlled oppositions working within them. And I mean, let's be real. It's not an unknown statement when someone says there's no loyalty in the streets, because at some point people are going to resort back to what? Looking out for themselves. Eventually they will. So best believe that this AI system has already extracted so many past experiences of some of these people. The AI already knows that you have a history of flipping, right? So it's like, if you ever flipped on somebody that you already were close to, imagine if you would ever flip on, I guess the secret society, whatever, because you may grow a conscience at some point. Or maybe you might think that you could probably make more money if you bend this little rule or law that they have. Because best and believe, they do have rules. They do have rules that they got to follow. I don't know the rules, but I know they got to follow some rules. And they're all like, Chris, you really got to stop talking. You don't know what you're talking about. Chris, he's setting up his family. His family is watching him. He's setting up his girlfriend. He's setting up his mother. That's like when somebody say, that's like when, if you look at an abusive relationship, right? And then the guy, he gets upset because of whatever, he or she did, or the woman, whatever he or she did. They do something to upset them, and then next thing you know, they hit them, and then they go, oh, look what you made me do. They didn't. I'm like, first and foremost, I didn't put the gun in your hand. I didn't tell you to press that button to induce a heart attack in someone. I didn't make you do anything. They're like, oh, you setting them up. But I'm like, no. This is called the age of truth for a reason. Why? Because this stuff has to come out. And there's no way it's going to be stopped. There's way too many people out here that are all fighting the same cause. Why? Because this is a fight for human rights. Human rights, not transhuman rights. Human rights. The transhumanists, they're already trying to run a coup on the entire world. They're already running a coup on the entire world. So I'm like, we as humans that are not enhanced, we are doing our best to just like see if we could just make it, right? We're doing our best to keep our vibrations high, not resonating with low vibrational energies. You know why you don't resonate with low vibrational energy and why you should never stay in that spectrum of low vibrational energy, like not harvesting anger and resentment and grief and stuff like that. The reason why you don't stay resonating with those emotions is because whether people want to believe it or not, there are entities in this world that we can't see. Think about it. You can't see near infrared, but you can feel it. You can't necessarily hear infrasound, but your brain is still decoding it. How can you stand there and say you don't believe in spirits, you don't believe in ghosts, you don't believe in demons, you don't believe in God, you don't believe in none of these things? How are you going to say you don't believe in none of these things, but yet you are actually being, and I'm talking to some TIs, because some TIs don't necessarily want to actually go that route and really acknowledge the fact that yes, there are that basically live in certain spectrums of light. They move and operate within certain spectrums of light. You can't see them with your. You could probably see them. Now, I'm gonna try to close. After my battery just died. Oh man. All right, come on, I'm almost there. Ooh, it died on the highway at that. Gee. Huh. All right, I'm gonna try to close. Right. Come on. Woo! See, when these batteries die, that's a wrap. These bikes get so hard to pedal. But anyway, all the energy I got left. But anyway, so dude. But anyway, close, Chris. After they finish getting rid of the loose ends, right? Then they're going to look at their global numbers to see how many they got left. Now, obviously, you all should already know, anyone who probably is a billionaire, they're not going nowhere. Unless they actually grow a conscience and all of a sudden, they are not in agreement with the rest of the secret, society and whatnot. And then eventually they, they use their resources to do something. And then, I don't know, maybe something good will come from that. But, after they work through those numbers to see how many they have left to get rid of, then they're going to start looking at, okay, I'm thinking they'll probably look to see, okay, what types of jobs are still available and who's working them. At that point, I think they'll probably say, okay, first we'll need to get rid of those jobs next. Whatever jobs the AI hasn't, been able to actually do themselves, they'll say, okay, let's see if we can up it some more and get rid of those jobs. So then the rich can continue to be even more rich. And then they can create an even more deeper disparity or a wider disparity in income. Oh man. Yeah, when that battery dies, this really gets tiring. But I mean, damn, I could barely talk. But okay. Close, Chris. All right, I might just have to walk it the rest of the way. I'm too tired. It's taking all the energy out of my legs. And they are still continuously hitting me with this radiation, so I'm still having my energy zapped in that sense. Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna just say this, because I'm too tired. The end goal is not going to be what they expect. I can already see this. Why? Because usually most of the things that man creates that's considered a powerful tool of a sort, it usually ends up being over abused. Right? It gets over abused, and then next thing you know, there's all this uncontrollable chaos and destruction. And ain't no coming back from what they're about to do next. Take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.